speed to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We waste the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. The moonlight, the summer sky, it was the best we ever had. And we'll stay on forever. We'll never have regret.
Hey everyone, it is Monday, 2nd of June 2025, and it's a little bit past 2 p.m. here in the Netherlands. Good morning, Susan. Very nice to see you here. I hope you had a great weekend. And yeah, good morning. Knitting a hat this morning together with your morning coffee. I have my afternoon tea. Favorite one, my favorite mug, of course. And this very mug today is Droomvlucht, which is translated right to dream flight. It's a loose tea blend. I'm not gonna take a sip of it right now because I literally made it 5 minutes ago, and I do not want to burn my tongue. But it's from this loose tea blend. And Droomvlucht is a lovely black tea with saffron, sunflower petal, dried sunflower petals, dried cornflower petals, and some dried strawberry leaves. So it's a bit of a Swedish, like not Swedish, but sweet-ish tea. Um, that could almost be caught wrong, I guess. I've been a busy woman, literally, the last couple of weeks. I did start on a new bucket hat, though I'm not really sure what sizing that's going to turn out to be, but I'm believing in the process. And then, of course, I have the Moroccan tea shawl, and I've also been progressing on Fleur this weekend, but more information on that for Friday's Yarn Talk video, because Fleur is a big size. It's really inconvenient to sit with Fleur while also trying to do live and being interactive with you guys and so on. So Fleur is not, unfortunately, very well meant for a stream. Last time I attempted to do so, I had a mistake and I had to frog row back. So I'm not trying to do that again. So, if you're rewatching this stream, thank you so much for doing so. Welcome to anyone new. Welcome to anyone old. Here we are simply talking about yarn. We are crocheting a bit together and we're just having a good time. that is the short sense of it. I have my project crate here with the PuErhTea Shawl. I link to that in the description box down below should you be interested in the pattern. And I need to keep a little bit heads on which part I reached in the pattern. But I am gonna take that one out and work on it. I think that is probably the best project, at least as of today right now, to work on, because it's been neglected since I went to Denmark. I haven't worked on it since. So as you can see here, we are slowly getting into, so we still have 2 strands of sage and 1 strand of mustardy purple. Oh, not mustardy purple, mustard yellow. But soon we should just have 2 strands of mustard yellow and 1 strand of sage. And of course we have the strand of fluorix, this golden speckled thread going through as well. So I'm gonna lay that down here because I do a center pull, and it's not really a shape that will stand on its own, unfortunately. And that is where we are looking at, just quickly looking at where we're working from. So what I'm gonna do, and I'm using my F hook, which is a 3.75mm hook together with this yarn. It's a Stanley Muffin Mini Luxe. Luxe basically just stands that it has fluorix in it. They also make them as a Stanley Muffin Minis. So the cake is a 250 gram cake, 1,000 meters, 1,093 yards. And they recommend 3 to 4.5mm crochet hook. I have to say, while crocheting this, I could probably also have used a 4mm. But here we are using a 3.75. I am going to see if we can do my dual camera view, and what also is, I have this dream one day, but it's still like one day. I'd really like the dual camera view to show my point of view, what I'm working on, but unfortunately, it's still not completely there. So there we go. We do have a little bit of an extra information here. Let's see. It seems like we are probably a bit twisted like that. It should be the right one. The only question is, and that is probably where I should make it a little bit different on the coloring. So it might just be really, really bright, but it will get better. Just give me a moment, please. It should work at least. Maybe it's the wrong one. That was default. Like that should work, I think. It's a little bit darker here, but the reason I have to turn that tone down a bit is because else it's so bright due to the other light I have in the room that it's gonna be really difficult to see. Maybe I need to brighten up like that. That might be a bit better. You can actually see like my top is really bright on this photo compared to in reality. It's probably somewhere in between the two. And how far did I actually get? I've done, by this look, probably like 3. I need to look at the pattern. How far am I? How far am I? So I've done row 24, 25, 26. So I'm about to start row 24. And guess what? Row 24 contains puff stitches. Maybe that's why I've been postponing this one. Puff stitches is not exactly my favorite stitch. That is for sure. And Pentecost is also going to be busy. So I've actually sort of made just gonna shorten up my sleeves a bit. I've actually made like a calendar pinging in the amount of work I need to do on Fleur to have it finished in 2025. That is sort of my goal. Let's see. So chain 4. Then we need to turn the work around, which we'll do. Hello and good afternoon, Hella. Wonderful to see you with us. I hope you're feeling okay. And then it says 2 double crochets into the first stitch. I can do that for sure. It's been a really funky day today. At some stage it was freezing and now I'm like, pooh, it's hot. No, okay, so, and then it says 1 single crochet into the next stitch. So that's done there. Chain 1, okay. Then it says 1 puff stitch, chain 2 into each of the next 7 chain spaces from the group below. And I just gonna check the puff stitches she does. I believe it's yarn over twice. She has a description for it. Info and tips. How you need to crochet puff stitch. Starts with 1 loop on the hook. Yarn over, so you have 2 loops on the hook. Insert hook and the stitch below. Yarn over. Pull out 3 loops on the hook. Blah, blah. Yarn over again. Insert the hook stitch below. 5 loops. So we need to continue doing that until we have 7 loops on the hook. Okay, coolio. I think I know enough. I am definitely not happy about all these puff stitches, but well, that was a part of the pattern I didn't read before I decided doing this pattern. So we'll yarn over, and then in each we should have 7 spaces. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, that's more than 7. That's because that's not including as a space. So it's 2, 4. What is then? Into the last. 8. There's 8. Okay, that's matching. Good. So we'll do that. So we'll yarn over. Then we'll yarn over again. That gives a 5. And we'll yarn over again. That gives a 7. And then we'll pull through all of the stitches and chain 2. One of the chains tends to lock it. And we'll repeat, rinse and repeat for those 8. Okay, I can do that. 2. Let's see. I lose track of it. I need to keep my tongue straight in the mouth for this. 1. That's 3, 5, 7. So it's 3 basically. Just yarn over 3 times. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then pull through all the loops. 1, 2. Yeah, that is definitely easier counting it like that. Now I just need to pull out some yarn because puff stitches, my friends, if you didn't know it, but I assume you do, they are most definitely what we call yarn eaters. Yarn eaters. 1, 2, 3. So, if you'd like to know how you can support me, then right now I could definitely use some watch hours. I never thought I had to say that, but I can actually see on my channel that I have been traveling quite a fair bit lately. And that has had its effects on those magic watch hours. So if you sit a day and don't know what to do and think about me, you are most welcome to go and have a look if there's any of my videos you actually haven't watched that. And if you haven't, then go give them a watch on normal speed, preferably. So 1, 2, and 3. 2 chains, 1, 2, 3 for the puff, 1, 2 chains, 1, 2, 3. That one looks funky. Let's redo that one. It looks funky. When they look funky, I don't have much faith in them. 1, 2, and 3. 1. So that's a real question because that one doesn't count, does it? No, 2, 4, 6, 8. I have 8. Okay, so then we'll do I wonder if it's then should I have done an extra chain? Because they are closest stitch with the chain. I should have. Blimey hell. I am really not on my game today. I'm sorry, ladies. We'll just frog all these puff stitches because apparently I forgot an extra chain. I just closed off it. I closed off the puff stitches with a chain and only added a single extra chain, but I should have added 2. But because I already added 1 when closing this the puff stitch, I was like, yeah, that's 2, which is technically sort of correct, but the first chain contains a part of the puff stitch. So rinse and repeat, one would say. So that is a closed stitch, and then we'll do the 2 chains. 2, 3. 1, 2. So I have a bunch of things going on. So in Pentecost, I'll be gone the whole weekend. We are heading off to Belgium, where I am partaking in an event. Actually, I'm a part of the organizing committee. And I won't have any time to crochet. We leave like Thursday evening, and I'll be back Monday morning. Not Monday morning, Monday evening first, actually. 2 and 3. And then the following weekend, I'll be on the Saturday. We have a match at my local club where I will be with a stand, not with my crochet items, but with some other stuff that I do. Oh my goodness. And then that's Saturday. Sunday, I'll fly back to Denmark, where I will be until the week following Friday. And then I'm off for a few weeks, where I should be in Denmark. Not in Denmark, sorry, in the Netherlands. And I hope to have lots of things ready during that period to reveal for you guys on this channel. There are things happening, which I'm really looking forward to show to you guys. 2. So yeah, and due to everything, obviously, I've been a crap ton busy. 2, 4, 6, 8, and thus not as able been to get stuff done as I had wanted to. So I'm just accepting the fact everything takes a bit longer these days, and it's absolutely fine. But I'm really looking forward to that. In July, 2, 3, 4. Are they 5 chains? Those I don't remember. Is it so long since I've worked in this pattern? That is sad. It shouldn't be. But it feels like it. It most certainly feels like it. Let's see. Into the next chain 4 space. So there are chain 4 spaces. Okay, which I did 4. I could also just have counted, I guess. As I said, it seems like I'm not on my game today. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is, I do apologize for that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I am still busy getting used to everything I need to do for my new job. It has proven to be very flexible towards me in so many aspects. I really enjoy my job in the sense it's probably not the most fun job, but I really enjoy the fact of the flexibility they offer me and how nice everybody is. 1, 2. It's kind of perfect for my current situation. 1, 2. And what I really need to do is I also need to look into flight tickets again. 1. Am I doing them too small now? Blimey. Can't count for the life of it. Yeah. Hello, Sarah. Good morning to you. I'm just saying to everybody how much I am apparently off my game today. I can't count for the life of it. I just, I don't know. Mistakes I make is yeah, I don't know. 1, 2, like counting the puff stitch chain, like you end the puff stitch with the chain. Count that as part of the chain too, rather than it's not because it's a part of the puff stitch and stuff like that. It's really it's one of those days. I don't know what happened to me this morning or this afternoon. Maybe because my head's wrapped so much around work. 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. I'll do it like this because then I won't lose count. 1, 2. Now we are really doing some puff stitches here. That is every time I'm like, oh yes, there's no puff stitches in this pattern, and I get like closer and closer, and I'm realizing there's puff stitches in it. 3, 5, 7. Oh, dropped it. You can rinse and repeat, I guess. 3, 5, 7. That is really not working out. So this yarn is not the most fun to do puff stitches with. I will tell you that. And that is because the lurex tend to, because it's a bit warm, it's a little bit how can I say it? Sticky, as in sticky to my fingers. So, and then meanwhile, I'm also apparently totally unable to hold on my yarn. Goodness, let's try again. 3, 5, and 7. I have the feeling it's not correct. Let's retry. Okay, 10th attempt making 1 puff stitch. So we have 3, now we have 5, now we have 7, and then the challenge is to get all of this and see the yarn there almost jumped off the hook, but I managed. On the 10th attempt, puff stitch succeed. My goodness, this is going to be a long day. Or is it just me thinking like that? I hope you guys are a little bit more successful in your endeavors of crafting today. 5, 7. Because clearly my level of success can't be argued. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, good. So now we need to do the easy part. That is the single crochet, chain 4, 3, 4. A single crochet in the next space. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a single crochet in the next space. So that is definitely the easy part. 1, 2, 3, 4, and another single crochet here. Now we got to another 8 puff stitches. Oh my goodness. I was so happy there were so few puff stitches in this pattern. Right now I feel there's like loads of them. It's really one of those days. 3, 5, and 7, and then chain over. Yeah, we still have the yarn on the hook. Awesome. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and then this yarn also stayed on the hook. I guess the conclusion is apparently this yarn doesn't want me to work too fast, because when I slowed down my movements, like by a lot, I tend to need to redo it less. So, okay. The yarn has spoken. 1, 2. It says it is a calm day, and therefore we cannot be too fast. It needs not to be too fast. I don't know. Do you have those days where the yarn tells you that you can't work at your normal pace? Because that is certainly how this feels like it during those double puff stitches. Normally I have no issues doing puff stitches, but oh my goodness, this yarn has been tricking me today. That seems to be improving. So yeah, there is lots of things going on. Right now, if nothing changes, it looks like I might have a chance to visit a real hobby store in 2 weeks' time. And if I manage to do that, I will definitely make sure to see if I can get some recording for you guys. Like in Denmark. And that realizes me that, I feel so bad for everybody who's now in Hong Kong, Japan, Australia and New Zealand that they can't get Hobby anymore because Hobby stopped shipping to these countries. I am definitely happy to be your drop shipper if you need me to be. But I am afraid that it will not be a cheap solution. But if you need me to, I will definitely be more than happy to get the yarn here and forward it to you if there is anything. You just send me an email and we can see what we can work out. But please note, my shipping fees are not cheap either, but they're definitely cheaper than one in Denmark. That is my general experience of things. Let's see. So at the end of the tip, we do again the chain one, and then we do the 8 puff stitches, and then we chain one and do a double crochet, chain two, do a double crochet, chain one, single crochet, chain one, and then it's 8 puff stitches. Okay, cool. So we'll chain one, and I do another bunch of puff stitches. Susan says she's sending best wishes to Helle, and I definitely hope that she is doing good today. Today, Helle went to Roskilde to get blood withdrawn for blood test or blood work, and that is what they do to ensure everything is okay before the next chemo treatment. Next chemo treatment will be, if everything is all right, tomorrow. And that is why that I'll be heading there in 2 weeks' time, because in 2 weeks' time, then I will be helpful and be driving her to the chemo treatment. Though that treatment takes like 2.5, 3 hours, and I'm not allowed to stay there while she gets the treatment. But the hobby store is only 20 minutes walk away from the hospital where she gets the treatment. And that is why, my friends, that I hope to be able to visit the hobby store in 2 weeks' time. Because I need to get my time to, well, I need to spend it somehow. And I thought that was a brilliant idea. The challenge will be for me, most definitely, not to buy anything or only buy something very limited. Well, it's a start that's maybe not so amazing for my dear mom because she is just boring herself in the hospital. But if she needs yarn, I can always get some for her, I guess. But I'm not sure how much she's been crafting as of late because she has been quite unwell. As in the sense of April was a really, really rough month, and the start of May as well. She is doing a bit better now, and when I went home, I came home last week Wednesday from Denmark, and she was definitely a lot more aware in the sense of like a lot fresher, a lot more present. Present would be the best word compared to the time before. So I have lots more hope in that it's going the right direction now than I had, let's say, 5 weeks ago. 5 weeks ago, I was genuinely in the most genuine matter of saying concerned of how this would end up. And now I feel less concerned. I'm still concerned, but a lot less, if that makes any sense. So that's positive. and then we need 1, and then that's where I need to just for a second keep my focus. I need a single crochet in that last double crochet stitch, so that would be this one, and then I'll need a chain 1, and then I'll need a double crochet in that space. Then we'll need to do 2 chains and another double crochet in the space, and a chain 1, and then a single crochet in that double crochet of the previous row, and then a chain 1, and my friends, we are back doing puff stitches. But yes, so the hobby would definitely be an awesome stop. The challenge is not to buy anything, but the good thing is that going to the physical store in Denmark is that I will be able to feel all of the yarns. Like now when I'm buying on Hobby and it's not yarns I've had before, it's just pure guesswork. Is this a nice yarn or is this not a nice yarn? And then I'll see what I get. Now I can actually know and like write down to myself, if this goes on sale, this yarn could be amazing for this project, and therefore I need to pay attention if this is the yarn I want. Um, as an example, right? Because these days, Hobby offer pretty cheap shipping to the Netherlands. I think it could be also it's a marketing ploy to get into the Dutch market, which I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But it's like 19, like I only need to order for like 19 euros and I have free shipping. And right now, for example, the Cotton King Sultan cakes, the regular Sultans, are for sale for like €9.90 or something like that a piece. So if I buy 2 of those cakes, I have free shipping. Um, and I tell you, I have been tempted. But the thing is, I should really not buy any yarn. I need to focus on spending some of the yarn in my stash. Which I think I've been doing decently as of late. But now what I need to do is I genuinely need to move some products, so to say. And that is a part of everything that I'm planning and prepping and preparing. I'm just not sure if I have enough time to settle it all. I won't have this week. So it could be that it's something for when I'll be back home. Because I am, as you may have known, been working on setting up a web shop. And that's taking a bit longer than planned. Part of that is definitely due to the fact that I got a job, which is awesome. That's also had an impact on my amount of consumption. It's definitely causing me to have a little bit less time to work away my stash. If that makes sense. Let's see, that should be 8. 4, 6, 8. There is 8. Then I just need to have one more. Susan is cheering me on to have another 0 stash purchase. And that, Susan, is why I'm saying I need to do my best for if I'm going to the hobby, only to touch and feel yarns and write down which to get if I have specific projects in mind. But I really shouldn't be getting yarn, but fundamentally I'm allowed to get yarn if 2, 3, 4. I'm allowed to get yarn if I have a commission, or if there's anything I need for present or whatnot. But generally, the idea is to use up my stash and get it turned over. Yeah, so I got a domain, and I attached a Shopify store to that domain, and I am kind of like looking into things, preparing things, etc. And it's really not been a hands on roses. It's a lot of information to process, and to like, there is definitely some manual labor. It's not just click, click, set, go. But that's all right. I am kind of aware of that. And what is my goal? I want it to be sustainable in the sense of it needs to make enough to pay for itself. And the real question will be if that's going to be possible after, let's say, 1 or 2 years. So right now, I am able to afford a launch of that, and we'll have to see how that all goes. 1, 2. And why didn't I just option for Etsy? Well, because Etsy eats so many fees. And some of those fees you also have on a store. And obviously you don't then get the traffic you could have gotten from Etsy. I could also option to still go on Etsy, which is something I've considered, though I would have to mark up the products there. And the benefit of that could then be, if you do get sales via Etsy, you would have to like add a piece in the packaging linking back to your own website, clarifying, you could have gotten it cheaper here. Lots of things that are automated for tax purposes, which is really nice. There's still manual labor to be done, but there's been like lots of things I've had to look into, because shipping fees vary for different countries, etc. So there has definitely been a lot. I should probably make a whole video about this for those that could be interested in knowing this. So that was, if I'm not wrong, another 8 of these horrible puff stitches. Remind me, if I ever design another shawl, that I should not include puff stitches. This shawl, by the way, not my design. That is Ines from Red Teapot Atelier. She makes gorgeous designs. I think one of the reasons people do use puff stitches for their designs is because it gives structure, right? It gives some structure, texture of it. And people really seem to like how texture looks. So that would probably be my logic reasoning for that. One, two. So it's just a new month. I haven't used up much yarn left yet for June. I have been using yarn for June, definitely. But I've not used technically any. And that's because I've been working on Fleur this weekend. But I will get some used, so that's going to be nice. And maybe if I'm good in the month of June, I will have used this cake of, let's put it a bit closer so you can actually see the cake I'm pulling from. Did I do that good enough here? I did, I think. So this is where we are at. Sarah says, I just made the PuErhTea Shawl, but I need 1 to 2 skeins more to completely finish. You gave me confidence to try again. Thank you. You're very welcome. Looking away from me and the puff stitches right now, I think it's nice. Sanita, good morning to you, my friend. Wonderful to see you here. I popped in on your premiere last night, and genuinely for some reason, so apparently it's just tendency of me, I thought you were live. So I was like, hello, good evening. And I'm like, oh, this is a premiere. You're not live. And then, okay. I was like, great. I don't know. It's like me with the puff stitches this morning. We are really it's a slow process making puff stitches because when I do them a bit faster than I normally would do, I slip the yarn or slip the hook or you're very welcome. Oh goodness, I have sort of yarn bath because I have some Lurex having its own little world. So I genuinely hope that piece that Lurex is supposed to be with soon will come out as well. Yeah, yarn bathing myself. 1, 2, 3. Let's try again. Slow. And then it works. As soon as I do it slow, no issues. When I don't do it slow, blimey. It's quite gorgeous. It's a muffin mini luxe from Stenley. Colorway 1252. I think you might still be able to get it. Oh, and Stenley has tempted me. They're like putting in my face, look, 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 we have discounts. Come get 20% discount on cotton yarns. And I'm like, yes, please, but no, thank you, because I am not supposed to buy any yarn. And then I didn't, which I'm really proud of. I'm so proud of myself, but I was so tempted getting it. But the problem is, if and when I do order from Stenley, I tend to make a quite big order because here in Europe we can get free shipping when the order is above a certain amount, and I refuse to pay for shipping if I can get free shipping. But it's like 150 euros of yarn, which is like a big box of yarn, and I need to use yarn. And if I buy a big box of yarn, then right now my instinct would tell me that my project of decreasing my stash 2025 is likely to fail. Sanita says she's not supposed to buy yarn either, but she has no willpower. I am doing my very best having willpower, but it is a challenge. I swear it's really, really a struggle. And that's also why my light fear for when I am going to hobby in 2 weeks' time, um, that something might go wrong, if that makes sense. Um, but you know, if I'm not allowed to stay at the hospital and it's 2.5 hours, and I'm definitely not going to sit in a car for 2.5 hours, it makes perfect sense to do a 20 minutes walk to go to the local hobby to check it out and go back to be ready to pick up later, right? Like, perfect sense. Yep, tea is temperature drinkable after like almost an hour. Hmm. And I guess a little bit of yarn is okay, maybe. Just need to like have a clear plan in mind, if that makes sense. Um, so that is fundamentally what I'm thinking. Oh my goodness. Not much, but put it in a jar and the coolest coins. Oh my goodness. Thank you so, so very much. That is amazing. Actually, for this, I very much should do. Thank you. Thank you, Sanita. I guess I can buy a skein of yarn now. Maybe. um, I'm definitely gonna be ever so tempted. Um, I'll be going to the store in Roskilde, which is probably the one that's closest to the head office. But I'm not sure when they do their lives and so on, where they actually do that from. I'll find out. So the intentional plan or the original plan was to do that much earlier, but then my mom had a few complications and the treatment was postponed. So I ended up getting treatments when I wasn't in Denmark. So obviously I wouldn't just go there for going there when I was on visit because it's a bit of a drive. Um, but now, my friends, it might work out. It might work out. Um, and if and when it does, I will definitely make sure to visit and bring you guys along. I'll need to do some recording of that, obviously. One, two. I am definitely looking forward to see how this is gonna end up once I'm done. And that should be 7. I need one more. How many yards this cake? It's 1,000 meters, so that is usually around 1,093 yards. So it's similar to like a hobby twister or yarn art flowers or Sultan Cotton Kings Deluxe. Let's see. 1. You're very welcome. They are really gorgeous yarns, and they're reasonably inexpensive actually, and that's the problem. As I said, if I do order from Stanley, I absolutely refuse to. I need to count for a second, just a moment. That is single crochet, and then I need to do 2 double crochets and treble. I just need to do this. But because Stanley has really good yarns for the prices, and as I said, I refuse literally to pay for shipping if I can get free shipping. So I subconsciously order a bit more to get the free shipping. And if I'll do that from Stanley, oh my goodness, the cash, like it's 155 euros, which is a lot more in dollars these days. Kind for the fun of it, jump to sharing my screen, and well, we do have a bunch of ads. I need to converter is the one I want. I know we don't want Danish crowns, we want USD. No, it's not USD to euros, it's euros to USD. 155, because I know most of you guys are Americans. So the current fee for me to get free shipping is 176 euros, so like 100, let's say 180 euros, just to round it up, because usually you get a bit more. 180 euros, that's like quite a lot of money, to be honest. And the amount of yarn that will have to be room for in my stash, which I don't have room for regardless, is sad. Let's see. I'll pop over to the English site. There are yarns. They have these cake yarns. They call them the sweet cake yarns. And they have lots of gorgeous yarns. They also have the magic drops. I'm really keen on trying. Well, I have them in my stash. I just need to spend time doing it. This is also the first time I actually work with the mini locks yarn. Oh, it's here. See, it's like €9.97. So let's say 10 euros. So to get free shipping, I'll need to buy 16 of these. 16. So that's like, and I'll be buying more than I'll use in a year. Well, currently that is. So it's 90% acrylic, 10% Lurex. There are 1,000 meters, which is like 1,093 yards, 250 grams. So that's 8.8 ounces skeins. And they're all like longer than thick. So if you do a center pull, it won't stand. It's probably you have to lay it down. It's too much to try for free shipping. And that's only because in Europe, if you're not in Europe and the EU, they don't do free shipping. You have to pay for shipping regardless, which I don't know how much is because that would depend on where you live. They do DHL shipping. And that's the color I'm using actually. That is the one that's right here. That is the color I'm using. That's the one. And yeah, it's a lot just to get it. And that's why I'm like not shopping it right now. I want to, but I don't. I don't have room. But I really like to get, like this one looks really nice, the black one. I think I have this one actually. I might have this one in my stash. And I have a feeling I also have this one, but I'm not 100% sure. This one is also nice. I'd like to add this one at some stage. And let's see what we have. And I also have this one in my stash. It's a bit further down here. This one I also definitely have in my stash. That's a positive. So I don't have all of them. And I'm also not positive I want all of them because you have to like, the color have to speak to you. And I'm questioning myself if I have this one. It's nice though. This one I wouldn't mind either. It's just, it's a lot of money picking up a bunch of Stanley yarn. Sanita says, I'm going back to sleep, but will be sleep listening. Thank you so much, Sanita. Very kind of you. I wish you a great sleep, and maybe I can lullaby you a bit in. Let's see, where did we get to? I actually finished row 27. Row 28 is no puff stitches, so I'm already feeling victory and freedom here because there's no puff stitches. So I need to start by chaining 4. We'll do that. 1, 2, 3. And before I do 4, check this out. Check this out. If you can actually see it, I'm not sure. Well, let me check if I can see it. It's a color change. It's a knot. We'll go from the 2 sage, 1 mustard purple, to 2 mustard purple and 1 sage. So it gets a bit more mustardy color. Color change. Party on. And then we'll turn the work around. And then we need to do 2 double crochets in the first stitch. Done. And then we'll need to do a single crochet in the next stitch. Done. We need to change one. Chain. I don't know why I said change. It's so close, I guess. And then we need to do a bunch of V-stitches. And how do we do these V-stitches? So into each space between these puff stitches, we'll have to do a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and then skip to the next space. So basically a V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And then you have chains between the V-stitches, and in each of the spaces here between the puff stitches, we'll do in V-stitches. Piece of cake, I would say. So that was a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, 1 V-stitch complete. We chain 1 to skip to the next, where we again do the double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, V-stitch complete, chain 1, skip to the next space, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Etc. This might actually go pretty smooth. Compared to my puff stitch round, that is. And it's definitely more mustardy color. To which, by the way, I genuinely do like this yarn. I think it's looking quite nice. Okay, so that was the last V-stitch. Now I need to keep track again. So I need to chain 1 also to get out of the V-stitches. And then we'll go to the 4 chain space over here. I work in a single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, etc. in those spaces. 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Good morning, Utpoles. Wonderful to see you, lady. and then chain 1 and repeat. I have to admit I was a bit lazy when I set up the stream because I reused the photo from last week's live. I hope that you're okay with that. But I should try to get a new photo for Wednesday, because I'll be here again Wednesday with you guys. That's the plan. So I am doing absolutely fine, except for my crochet abilities might disagree. I was struggling on my puff stitches for some reason, but I am personally doing fine. I had time to relax this weekend. I had time to crochet also. I spent a lot of time working on Fleur. I've even made a schedule so that I can try to keep track on how far I need to be done compared to wanting to be finished no later than sometime in December. So I have this schedule where I can like kind of cross off every side for the total amount of rows that I'm done doing. So I made a full overview of that, and that is my calendar for also where my overview is for. I know when I should be able to go live and so on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because last week's Yarn Talk video, I made this goal that I would definitely try to finish Fleur this year, because I've already spent like, if I'm finishing in December, I'm still like almost 2 years on, which is a lot. So yeah, it's just me trying to, I guess, manage my time on which projects I work on to help give me an overview of how much I need done if I really want to meet that goal. I could also choose just to work on Fleur, but if I do that, I won't be able to go live because it's so big. You can't really see what I'm doing. I'll like put it all, like I'll sit with the pile. I'll be like, yeah, it's really huge. Sarah says her brain couldn't focus one bit on crochet yesterday. Hopefully it's today better. Yeah, well, yesterday my brain was fine, but today, my friends, apparently puff stitches are my nemesis. And we just had a color change. So I don't think we will have any more of this live, but we will see, maybe. Upbo says that's wonderful. My hands are angry with me. I made a bunch of soap sacks on Saturday, and my hands do not appreciate working with kitchen cotton. Yeah, I can sort of relate. My hands can also go a bit angry when it's too much like the recycled cottons. Because that's a bit rougher on me. For example, the cotton I used for the summer shopper bag, not summer shopper, also the summer shopper, but that seems softer almost. The drops recycled denim, that was rough on my hands compared to the non-recycled pairs of drops, if that makes sense. One, two, three, four. Um, 2, 3, 4. Well, I shouldn't do 3, 4. I should just do 1. And then we are at the center, so I need to check the pattern out, my friends, so I do the right pattern part, which is basically the same as the previous row. If I repeat this, I'm already doing that. Should be easy. So we'll do the V-stitches between the puff stitches. And we'll have to pull some yarn. Meanwhile, that barfity barf I had from the Lurex is gone, so that sorted itself. That's nice. I like when that happens. So I should have this under control. We have terrible wildfires in my province, not near me, luckily, I would say. About 17,000 people got evacuated, and a bunch of them are in my community and they're needing help. Oh, that's horrible. I hope that's gonna get better. It's been really dry spring here as well, except until like the last past week. It's been raining and raining and raining and raining. But it's been a pretty dry spring here too. So I think there could have been some concerns. There was discussions if they should prohibit people watering their gardens due to drought, basically. I think that's right what I'm doing. It is. I remembered correctly. Points for me. Points for me. I contacted the owner of my list, and she's collecting donations of knit, crochet, washcloth, and soap sacks for them. That's nice. But that's horrible that people had to get evacuated, right? But oh my goodness. It sounds like a lot of people's potentially also lost their homes, which I find quite horrible thought. You know, when I hear about these natural disasters, if I may call them that, because it doesn't matter if it's a wildfire or if it's a hurricane or if it's a tornado or an earthquake or volcano or whatnot, I feel so blessed that I live where I live because we don't have those crazy things happening here. It's like we might experience an earthquake, but the earthquakes we experience we barely feel because they're either pretty deep or they're further up north in the country, and they're still not like they could cause cracks in housings and so on. And the reason those earthquakes come, and that's like a whole thing that they're making rules for right now, is because of fracking. They frack the gas in the underground, and they're actually saying, hey, we should not collect natural gases because those natural gases, when they get removed, we get more earthquakes. So they're really like small earthquakes. No people die from them and so on, but it's still obviously not very good because houses can break. But overall, we don't have any volcanoes. We don't get tornadoes. We don't get hurricanes. Well, we could probably get like a category 1 hurricane at best. But it's less likely because if we do get it really windy, it would have to cross like I'm all the way to the east, so I don't live any close to the coast. So if that comes here, it will first have to go through most of the country, which will be worse for them probably than it would be for me because the winds would slowly like settle down. Um, yeah, you're like the worst thing that happens here when it's crazy is that it rains a lot sometimes. Um, yeah, we don't have any big natural disasters, so I guess I'm really blessed, and that's why it's so easy for me to think how horrible it is when people are experiencing them because somehow I can't relate. It's yeah, if that makes any sense. Apple says we get the rare tornado, but they're really small and only damage the trees. Is it like a wind hose? Because we do get wind hoses sometimes, especially like during summer when there is like a rapid shift. So it's been really hot and humid, and you have a likely to get some heavy rain showers due to the weather have been hot all day. Then sometimes it can like the wind can pick up so much that it can sometimes create wind hoses here, which is basically a small tornado, which usually just damages trees, or it could definitely also move some furniture around. Like, okay, it's definitely a tornado, just small ones. Cool enough. So for us, it's like wind hoses. We do get wind hoses. It's not like we're free of everything. Um, and we can get sometimes like, you know, the sewers can't handle if we get a mass pour of rain, but it doesn't happen that often. Um, so I guess generally I should feel really blessed with where I live. Like, try imagine people living in Florida. Basically, every year they have to fear that their houses isn't in the middle of the path of a hurricane. I don't even need to worry about that bit. Yeah, natural events are minor comparison to other places. That said, and you may laugh, but here in the Netherlands, if they have any snowstorm, um, which will yield a layer of snow longer than my crochet hook, they consider it a natural disaster. They can't drive a car. Everything kind of stops and go crazy, but that's because they aren't used to it. Um, I remember the first year we're here in 2009, in December 2009. We had just gotten home from a match in Luxembourg, and it was a nightmare drive home because it was snowing. And then the following morning, we're listening to the news on the radio, and the weather guy was like, "Yeah, and we had a new record snowfall this year. It dropped 29 centimeters of snow in one day." And I was like, 29 centimeters of snow? You got to be damn kidding me. Is that a record? So, like, I called my mom and said, "Hey, how much snow do you have at home right now?" And my mom was like, "Yeah, we'll probably have like around 80 centimeters." I was like, there was a lot of snow that year, I have to say. That was crazy. That was a year with snow. But yeah, for the Dutch, anything more than a few inches is a lot. And then they forget how to drive cars and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. I was like, that's a normal winter day here. Yeah, you get my point. So it's not, I wouldn't say getting snow is a normal winter day in Denmark. Um, but w- in Denmark we can definitely get snow. So there are some years where we barely get any snow at all, and the other years we'll get a reasonable amount of snow. Um, but in the Netherlands, it's when we get snow, it's a lot less. It's usually just a couple of centimeters, and then if you're lucky, it stays a few days. And anything more than 10 centimeters is like a lot. Um, Weather has definitely also changed a bit over the years, right? Um, but they don't have a lot. I remember one year I had to fly out of Amsterdam airport. I do believe I had to fly to Denmark even, and it had started snowing in the afternoon in the Netherlands, and it was like maybe layer 5 centimeters, so it wasn't much. But everything was delayed at least 2 hours in Amsterdam because of the 5 centimeters of snow. They couldn't clear the runways fast enough. And just to put that in a complete contradiction, that in Amsterdam they barely wouldn't be flying because of the snow on the runway, which were like 5 centimeters. And 5 centimeters, like what? This much? It's not a lot. Um, a couple of years earlier, I think, or was it the same year even? I could have been the same year. I were in Finland, and I had to fly back home from Helsinki or Helsingfors, depending on where you are. And they had like half a meter of snow, and it was still snowing, and there was like zero delays. The only reason there was a delay in that airport was because there was a delay getting the aircrafts de-iced. So just how people react and how the world handle things just so much tells about how they're used to certain events happening, if that makes sense. Like you're almost guaranteed snow in Finland during the winter. You aren't guaranteed snow in the Netherlands during the winter, uh, to take an example. So I guess that explains why things are so differently. Yeah. Apple says it makes sense. The west coast of Canada freaks out if they get a few centimeters of snow too. Here you see. It just says so much about where you are and how events happen, right? Um, Apparently, a lot of Danish people immigrated to Canada back in the 1950s, actually. Just for a fun fact, because now I know you're in Canada. I was watching a program and I realized how many Danes actually immigrated to the States and to Canada. Um, Not too long after the Second World War, there was still a bit of a economical crisis, building up the country again and stuff like that. I think that's what I had to do. Just a moment. It is I love when I remember things correctly. Then we'll do 2 double crochets and a treble. Abba says she finished her Riptide shawl on Friday. Nice. I love when projects finish. I have to say I was really personally super surprised that I finished 3 items last yarn talk video. I won't have any finished items this coming Friday. I don't think I'll reach it. I have a bucket hat I'm working on, but I'm not convinced that I'll have it finished. And this one I won't have finished. And yeah, so it's just gonna be probably just gonna be a short, quick chit chat showing the progress I made on Fleur. Yeah, so it's probably not gonna be a big one. Let's see, row 29. Bunch of double crochets full. Sure, we'll start by chaining 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn the work around. We'll do the 2 double crochets, and again we'll do a single crochet in the next stitch, and then we'll start by working in 4 double crochets in every other chain space. So basically in each of the V stitches we work in 4 double crochets, and then in the middle we'll do a single crochet, chain 4 single crochet, and then we'll do in each of the V stitches we'll do 4 double crochets again. So this is going to be a real bunch of double crochets. Good morning, Jay. Wonderful to see you with us. Alba says, I also introduced the owner of my list to the ice yarns. She had never heard of them before. Oh, okay. Well, ice yarns are also nice. That is, for ice yarns, in my case, I need to do math carefully when buying from ice yarns because it's not always, depending on the yarn I'm getting, it's not always cheaper to get it from ice yarns. There are some brands that have the same yarns, and sometimes those brands are cheaper to get for me from a European store selling them, because when I buy from a European store, I don't need to add and pay 21% import tax. Because, well, that just sucks living in the European Union. Right now, this angry golden-haired guy in the US is also doing stuff about taxations as well. So, that dream I ever had about maybe buying some American yarns might have to fly for the next 4 years, depending on what that angry man figures out. On the other hand, I did learn a very new saying on that account. When we talk about this yellow-haired angry man. And the new saying is a taco. You know, tacos, taco, T-A-C-O. And you know what taco stands for? It's an economical saying. And the reason it's a bit interesting for me because I do have some stocks and so on. The taco stands for Trump always chickens out. And let's hope that's valid as well for the taxes you want to do. What is he calls them something else, but basically it's import tax, right? Import tax from other countries, import tax from China, import tax on Canada, import tax on Europe, etc. And the thing is, right now the negotiation is postponed until July with the European Union. But if Trump is going to add, let's say, 50% import tax on the EU, also just 25 for that matter, the EU was going to go and do the exact opposite and do the same on them. So it's going to be status quo. Tariffs. Thank you, oddballs. Tariffs is just another word for tax. But if you use the word tax, it's negatively loaded. In the end, for tariffs and taxes, it's all the same. It's the consumer who pays. Sorry, that was my political input here. Normally, we don't do that. Sarah says, just hooked up my case manager with the hobby app. Hello, Jana K. Wonderful to see you. Flourish Crochet. So yeah, I had this idea that I eventually, once I guess money flow would allow it and my stash would allow it, I'd like to order some yarns from the US and compare them to some European yarns. That said, I do have some yarns from the US. I actually do have a bunch of Karen Simply Soft in my stash. And yeah, I kind of hope to get a bit more different things to try out. But the yellow-haired man may pose a little challenge to that goal, and it may have to be postponed a little. We will have to see. Oddball says, I will keep my political rant to myself or it'll get ugly. Yeah, I think I'm keeping it neutral, right? Like, except for the taco part. So far, it's been pretty true. And it would be extremely stupid if he decides to go through with it. But 2, 4, 6, 7. Is that 7? Well, that should be probably. It is. Oh my goodness. I'm straight on track. I love that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So Trump might have put a stick into my wheels on some aspects, but I'm also happy that because I do have a small business not related to yarn or crochet or in that sense a hobby, and I get my raw materials actually from the US, so I do purchase things from the US. And because he started blustering about these tariffs, I got my order in and received it in March. And I am pretty happy that I did so. Because, yeah, that's likely to save me some cash long term. I got my daughter her birthday present on Saturday. She's getting a set of Clover and more hooks, yarn spindle, and a project bag. Oh, that's nice. I've been looking at knitting needles, actually. I want to get myself some better knitting needles. So I've spent some time looking at them. And I'm highly debating on trying some out. Which I found they're like cubics, so squared. That should be much better for your hands, especially if you have like arthritis, or rheumatoid arthritis and the like. And given the fact that my grandparents have had it and my mom have had it, and I do have a sort of arthritis in my back, if that eventually happens to my hands, I think I'd rather want to look a bit ahead. Jay says, I found that the Chigo metal needles work better than the Clover bamboo for socks, at least for her. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. I've been looking at some of the Knit Pro. I think they are named J'adore. They are sold on a few different places. But I've been wondering if I should get a different set. That's probably not going to be wood, but just aluminium. For the sake of it, it's a bit cheaper. And then if I like those, I can always go for the Knit Pro ones. But the Knit Pro ones is like, what, 80 euros or something like that. Almost got a set of knitting needles for knit picks on Black Friday. Yeah. So I have this idea, but I'm not completely there. I recommend interchangeable needles. Yeah, have those. It's just they are, yeah, they work. They're not the best. They work. I think that's fair. I'm probably at a stage where I need to consider getting some better quality. I should also probably consider getting some double pointed ones because, so Susan, while I did the bankhead beanie that you suggested me, and I did sort of enjoy it, I didn't do the last 2 rows of the closing because that was way too fiddly with the interchangeable ones I had, mainly because the longest loop I have to add on isn't long enough to do it in a decent way. And Frosh says, or Jenna K says, I love the Chigo needles. Okay, yeah. I could bring you guys with me for a moment. I guess, let's see. I do believe Hobby have them, so let's pop over to the shopping page. I don't know if Hobby actually also have the Chigo. I don't think so. Hooks, no. Knitting needles, yes. And I do know it's, oh, they actually have them here. If I can actually get it. It's a J'adore Cubics that I've been looking at. But I am not willing to pay the price for them right now. So they're not the interchangeable one. These are the interchangeable one, but they're like 139 USD. My goodness. Crickets. Is it Canadian or is it US? It's, well, it says shipping to Canada. I don't know why Hobby gives me that, but 139. I'm not paying that. Like, I'll find a better price. And they are wood, but they should be really good apparently. For like for holding on them and so on. See, they're like squared. So something similar to that is probably what I'm optioning for. They come in 4 to 8 millimeters, which is probably most of what I'll be using or needing. I'm not looking into socks as such. Could probably do socks. You should probably learn to knit socks. But given the fact that I have agreed with my mom, she lives another at least 20 years, she has time to learn me to knit socks. And they also come in the double pointed ones, like either 20 centimeters long or the shorter version, which is like 15. But my goodness, for this price is crazy. Double pointed needles is a must for knitting in the round and closing up top of hat. Yeah, you could probably do it with interchangeable ones if the cord you have is long enough, is my point. But I don't have that for the set I have available, and it's just a set that I inherited, which is probably not the best quality. Jana K says, I do use Knit Picks Sings DPNs for the heel flap and heel turn of the socks. They're really nice. I do think they also have them here. And again, we are just single pointed, double pointed. We're just looking right now, right? I'm not saying we need to buy them here because hobby, you'll need to find them on sale because else they're definitely too expensive. But the idea of looking is nice. We have the wooden ones, symphony. So you said sing double pink needles right here, I would say, in different sizes and thicknesses, from all the way from 2 millimeters to 6. That's because they're mainly for socks, I think. Oddballs says I'm a beginner knitter, but I'm learning magic loop since I don't have double pointed needles. Oddballs, my experience is the longer loop you have when you do the magic loop, the easier it gets. And I'm pretty much of a beginner as well. So that's like my heads up. I got a couple of packs of the Metal Sing double point needles on Hobby, and they're very comfortable. So these ones basically, because this is the same double pointed from Knit Pro. I like Magic Loop for the toe of my socks. As a newish knitter, I still struggle working with the multiple needles. Yeah, I attempted once and I was definitely not very successful. Do they have Jago? I don't know. Now we just get the whole list of brands, right? They have some cheapo ones, etc. Let's see what they do have. Addies, Sing. They have their own. Stella interchangeable knitting needle set. Let's have a look at that afterwards. And that's their deluxe. What's the difference between the two? Is probably the sizing. Denim extra short interchangeable circular needles knitting pro. So I like the short aspects. It's also so when you have shorter needles, it's easier for the magic loop if you knit with a very few stitches on the round. So that is definitely a thing to keep in mind. Trends interchangeable. Or a whole set. That seems to be on sale, but still, $90 is like a lot of money right now on my budget. They also come, and here, that's a short one, but they're only like up to 6 millimeters, and I kind of like them up to at least 7. Oh, sorry, 8. This is also just 6. This seems to be like a short set as well. I'm wondering where's this 7 pairs, blah, blah, blah. Length of the needle, they're only 2 inches long. And to compare to these, they're 11.6 centimeters. So they're like a bit more than 4 inches long compared to, so they're like double length. But they also go from 3.5 up to 12 actually. Not sure I'd ever need a 12 though. They're like 3.5 to 6, both of them. You have the sets of double pointed, which you don't need. Well, I do. They also do have the carbon run from Knit Pro, but that's not Chiago. I don't think they have Chiagos, actually. Oh, I'm all in the mood to get knitting stuff. It's really no budget. I shouldn't. We got all inspired now. We did get all inspired, but I decided, nope, we probably better get off that before I buy something. But I've heard lots of people saying they like the Chiagos. probably need to have a look at maybe Amazon, maybe Linda Hobby. They also have a lot of knitting stuff, which where Hobby's a lot of own brand. Linda Hobby both have own brands, and they do have some um, other brands as well. Like I would be able to get Malabrigo yarn there. My knit pick needles work with my Knitter's Pride Knit Pro cables. Okay. It's always nice when you have a system where um, the cables work with different needles, and definitely also if that's different brands. I would really like that. That would like be ideal. I got my Chaco off Amazon, but I only need a size 1 9-inch circular needle. Yeah, okay. I'd probably prefer like a whole set. It's on my dream list of things. I'm not 100% sure if I'll bring any knitting project with me on my next trip to Denmark in 2 weeks' time, though. But I do have a dream. Need to see how specific things are working out before getting. Like, I'd like to test maybe, let's say, a cheaper version of um, of a cubic type needle before shedding out $130 for a set, if that makes sense. Let's see. Upper says, I had a bunch of Knitter's Pride cables from Tunisian sets, so I wanted needles that work with the same cables since they're swivel ones. That makes good sense. Chaco look really nice, but their cables only work with their stuff. That's downside. They have a whole set, but I'm starting out. I'm still starting out, so I'll just get a couple of each type to see what I like first. Makes good sense. Yeah, I think it's a challenge. In the end, people prefer things, right? I have a set of hooks that I got, which are those solid aluminium hooks. They look a lot like furls, but they are not furls because I got them off Temu, I think. Um, but reality is, for me, I personally think they're a bit too heavy for me to work with. I don't work as easy with them. Also, the shaft for me is a bit long. I think it's great if you have long fingers or if you prefer a longer shaft to work with, where I like this to be in my hand. So these are technically a tiny bit short, but rather than have them a bit short than too long. Because if this shaft gets too long for me to work with, then I can't work comfortable, and that's because I have these tiny short fingers. I call them my small sausages, literally. They are so short and not very slender either, but it's a really small hand. I have a really small hand. Um, and yes, I know because my glove size is a size extra small, and my grip for my rifle is an extra small, and everything is like small or extra small when it comes to my hand. So my conclusion is just these metal hooks. They're way too big for me to comfortably work with them. Yeah. And therefore, my friends, um, I'm not using them. I should probably make a review of them. And then I'm questioning myself if I should sell them. Because for me, they're not very enjoyable because of they have some weight to them. but sizing wise, I think I'll enjoy them if I'd work with some thicker yarns, like where I needed like a 9 or a 10 millimeter. But I attempted working with it for, I think it was a 6 or 6.5 back in January, and I didn't find it work very smoothly for me. I were quicker changing back to a smaller shaft hook and a lighter hook. So I am debating if I should actually just clear them out and, like I'll make a review and then clear them out of my stash because I'm not gonna use them. I don't think I am. They're just looking at me saying, "We are pretty, we are looking so pretty," but I don't like working with them at all. At least not that one. Well, maybe I should give them a chance again, but my first impression wasn't exactly um, one that said that I should work with them. And I think they look really nice, but clearly I'm not working very well with them. Susan recommends buying a complete set as it's more cost effective than buying individual needles and cables. I can imagine. When you have a complete set, your knitting options are almost unlimited. I switch needle sizes all the time. 16-inch cable is best for knitting hats in the round, which is my favorite knitting method. Okay. Artball says she has an unpopular opinion about furls. She can't stand them. So these aren't furls, they're just heavy. Furls is probably also heavy. I think it might be better for the what are they called? The resin ones. I also got some old hooks with me back in March, where I should try to do some resin art with them. But I haven't gotten around that yet. Mainly because I guess I've had other things to do. Also need to make some resin buttons at some stage. But there are so many things I need to make at some stage. And the first weekend of July, I'll have time to probably go live also in the evening because, well, the event that I had planned to go to, well, they totally changed, so I can't attend. Though my partner will be there because he's volunteering there, but I'm just having nothing else to do, so I'll just, I don't know even know if I want to go there actually. So who knows? I could also just have fun with you guys. Craft all weekend. Do my own stuff. Susan says, agree with you. I have 2 of the plastic furl hooks and they're sharp and hard for me to hold without the thumb indent. Okay. And Jenna K says she's also not a fan, but I also don't like inline hooks, and that is what furls is, like Susan Bates. I don't. I'm pretty okay with inline hooks, though it kind of depends because so the ones I have, which isn't furls, but they really look like furls. I should probably pick them up. I could pick them up upstairs. What I'll do is I'll finish this row and I'll fetch them upstairs. But they're really sharp on the edge. These are not inlines. They're not inlined. They're. I should know that. Forgot the word. But these are the Clover Soft Touch what I'm sitting with here, and I actually just enjoy them because the metal runs really smooth. And because the metal is so smooth, I don't care that I'd like the shaft to be just a few centimeters longer, ideally, but I'm okay with it because the metal is so nice. So because the yarn slides so nicely on the hook, who cares about the shaft? Is basically my head conclusion. I'll find those hooks I have upstairs when I finish this row, because I'm like halfway through. I just need to catch how I do the center before I make any mistakes. So I'll do a single crochet in that double crochet of the previous row. Okay, and then I'll do 2 double crochets in the space and chain 2 and another 2 double crochets, and then it's a chain 1 down below, and then we are back to the 4 double crochets in each of the V stitches. Goody. But yeah, so I'll get them for you. Just, you know, I don't know, give me however long it takes for me to do the other half of this row. I'll fetch them for you to see if I can explain what I'm talking about. Jana K says, I don't see the reason to spend that much money when there are great ergonomic hooks out there. I use Tulip and I love them. Good point. Clovers, also not too expensive, I would say. I have a few wooden ones and a couple of Odyssey. The wooden ones, the hook throat is so small that my yarn falls off all the time. The Odyssey are too heavy. I also don't like the inline hooks either. Yeah, okay, good point. Yeah, so when hooks gets too heavy, they get uncomfortable in the hand. I guess that's why I also like this soft touch from the Clover here, because it's, yeah. So my ideal crochet hook is actually a hybrid between this hook and the Prim's ergonomics. Like I'd like the shaft from the Prim's, like the handle of the Prim's, but I'd like the metal piece of these. Can I get that, please? That would like be the perfect hook for me. Odell says, something exciting. We got possession of the property we bought on Saturday. My hubby's moving all the equipment there this morning. Oh, that's awesome. So you're getting ready to build. I am jealous. We did talk for fun about moving slash not moving here in the house this weekend. And we actually discussed about the fact that we didn't want to move because the thought of having to sort all of our stuff to make the house ready for sale and stuff like that. And we're like, holy crap, no, not a worse. And then we're like, but should we ever have enough money, then we wouldn't mind moving. But then we are probably also picky enough with what we want to get. And then the question is obviously, so if we win the lottery, then we wouldn't mind moving. But I don't think we will be winning the lottery, knowing our luck. Because then I said, if we do end up moving, I'd like to have a house that's like free of any neighbors behind the walls, so to say, a freestanding house, which on its own is quite expensive in the Netherlands, but that would be really nice. And then next to that, I'd like an extra room, a reserve room that's big enough to actually have a decent double bed for when I have visitors that they can decently sleep. Right now, it's like a two-bed solution where one is a normal single-person bed. Well, it's actually a little bit more than a single-person bed, but it's not half, one and a half. And then it's like a temp sort of bed situation where you like can fold it out for the second person to sleep on. So it's not completely ideal, but it works. And it's not that we have visitors that often, but you know, I'd like something nicer. And then of course a craft room would be nice. I actually said two craft rooms because one for my craft and one for my partner's mess. Or that could go in the attic. Um, so that would like be my dream, right? Um, basically a few more rooms for that. But yeah, that will require us winning in the lottery because I'm afraid financially we are probably looking at like €1 million, which is like a fucking lot of money. Sorry. Excuse my French. So yeah, that's probably not gonna happen. But that could be kind of nice having my own room, right? Like a craft room would be so awesome. Fact is just now my craft room is also my guest room and my room for basically storing everything. Um, which right now is a mess because it also has other stuff in there, which, yeah, needs to get sorted. I think I missed something. So far, my best hooks are the Clover and more. The only thing I wish is that the hand was just a few centimeters longer. Basically, like how I have here with my Clover Soft Touch. All that to say, everyone is different, and I'm thankful that there are hooks for everyone. Yes, Jenna K, very well said. I totally agree on that account. Abba says I will be at earthwork for a couple of years since we can only do it when he has spare time and we'll have to build the property a lot. Yeah, I can imagine because it's a brand new, like ground, nothing done, right? We're going to put a house on it. It needs to build up at least 6 feet, like the sockets and so on, like so, to get it braced up. That is what this house will have: two craft rooms, one for me, and a game room for hubby. Good point. Linnea, welcome to this live. Linnea Ockerblom says the hooks. I like the hooks in aluminium, like pony. I have tried the ergonomic ones, but they hurt my thumb. I think it's because I use pencil grip when I crochet. Plausible. I think these would work for pencil grip because they do have this sort of thing you can hold on. But I'm a knife gripper. And I think it's because my mom is a knife gripper, so I just been taught to crochet with a knife grip. Every time I've attempted doing a pencil grip, I feel stupid and I can't control anything. Um, so I see people do it and I'm impressed with their abilities of doing it. I've just accepted the fact that I am going to be knife gripper and that's just it. And that is also what I like about this craft. You know, there is no perfect way, no right way in the sense of how to hold. You just need to hold it how you can control it and do the stitches. It's not like if you don't hold it like this, then blah blah blah. So Linnea, I would almost say, based on your name, are you from Sweden by any chance? Because your name sounds very Swedish to me. And I can say that because I am a Dane, living in the Netherlands, though I am in Denmark quite a bit recently. Linnea confirms me she is indeed Swedish. Well, wonderful to see you. Heja Sverige! I almost felt I was going to Sweden, by the way, the other day, because when I was going to the airport in Copenhagen, I'm going with train because, well, my dad could probably bring me to the airport, but you know, it's easier if he just drives me to the train station. I'll take the train due to it's a long drive and he'll be alone in the car. And my mom would have to be home alone for a fair amount of time, so it just seems wiser somehow. And I had to change train at the Copenhagen Central Station. And the train I had to change to was the intercity train to Växjö. So I felt I was going to Sweden, though I jumped off just before, obviously, the tunnel or the bridge to Sweden. It's a bridge for the trains, tunnel, bridge, whatever. So yeah, I actually felt I was going to Sweden last Wednesday, even though I wasn't. So that was a bit funny. And thank God that train was delayed. Well, it's a long story. I should have had time enough to change trains. And the train I got to Copenhagen Central was on time until we left the like station before the second last or something like that. And then we're like standing still between train stations, and the driver of the train was like, yeah, we are waiting on getting signals that we are allowed to continue, blah blah blah. Okay, fair enough. Then at some stage, we were slowing up to Copenhagen Central Station, and again they were like, okay, and if you're going to Copenhagen Airport, you'll have to take, we are landing on track 3, and you'll have to take the train from track 7. The train you'll have to take is the train going to Växjö in Sweden, and it is departing at 18:14, so 14 minutes past 6 in the evening. And when they were like saying that, we hadn't even entered the track or the perron, um, or track. They like we hadn't stopped. They hadn't opened the train doors yet, and it was like 18:10. And I was like in a train that had like 2 trains put together, and I was not able to move further up the train. So I was like all the way in the other end, compared to having to run to the stairs to get up to change track to get to the right track on time. And when I got to the stairs, the the automatic rolling staircase had broken down, so I had to do my suitcase on the manual regular stairs all the way up, running all the way over, realizing the fact that now the train should probably have departed already, running down there. Luckily, the automatic stairs, the rolling staircase, were working, and the train were still there, luckily. And the question was just, could I reach it on time? And it was like crowded with people. It was rush hour. And I ran over and I jumped into the train. And I swear you, within like 30 seconds of me jumping into that train, it left. And it was like 5 minutes late. So it departed 5 minutes late. Right? So I don't know how even they could sell me a ticket where all this should have been able to, like, that was crazy. I definitely got my exercise that day, trust me. Like shoveling up that, like, it's like, I don't know, like a 30-pound suitcase up and down stairs and rushing for this stupid train. Goodness. But I made it, and I made it to the airport. No issues there. But it was, I genuinely were afraid I would miss the train. Sounds like a scene from a movie. Well, it definitely felt like it. I was really, my heart was pumping. Like, that was a moment where I concluded the fact that I thought I was in half decent shape. Actually, in fact, is that I'm in no shape at all, and it's gotten a lot worse after I had COVID a couple of years ago. But mm, good Lord, um, I was tested. It was like, yeah, that was a really a bit of a rush on movies, and I'm thinking train stations and so on. Have any of you ever, and this is like a really old movie, I wonder how old it is. Give me one moment. It's from 1998. It's from 1998. But have you ever watched the movie called Sliding Doors? That is an old movie, but it's from 1998. I can warmly recommend it, by the way. It's a movie that's about, it's actually two movies in one, and it's like, one of it is, um, what happens when she misses a train and what happens when she doesn't miss this train. And it's like two different parallels that's happening. It's actually quite good. It's with Gwyneth Paltrow. Um, I will share the link to the description from Internet Movie Database in this chat. Good morning, Marianne. Marianne's crochet hands is late, but she's here. Well, better late than never is a saying we have in Denmark. Good morning to Texas. And Linnea says she has seen it. I think it's a good movie. I'm now almost getting in the mood to find out if I can stream it somewhere. It's an old movie, but I'm in the mood to watch it again actually because it's not a bad one. And the concept of this, what happens, like this, in the event she made it or didn't make the train, different events happened in life. I think it's a great concept actually. Um, It's basically like seeing a movie, what happened if you made these life choices and what happened if you made these life choices. Where sometimes you'd really genuinely like to know what would play out in advance before making those choices. Um, because if certain things, if you knew those in advance, you might not have done them, if that makes sense. Um, and I've definitely had some of those choices in my life as well. Um, A good example is in 2013-14, I optioned to change my nationality from Danish to Dutch to compete for the Netherlands. And at the time I optioned to do this, it was definitely the best choice I could do based on my life and my sport and everything. Um, but if I know what I do know now, I probably wouldn't have done it. Um, because I guess the bottom line is that it didn't really change much. And it might even have hurt some other things, but it's what it is. So at the time, and that's why when you do have to make these important life decisions, sometimes you just need to accept that if it's what you think is the best option when you make the choice, um, then that's good to do. Back then I couldn't. Um, this is, by the way, how we are looking. Bye, Susan. Have a nice day. Oddballs, I can have both nationalities. Now, I couldn't back then. It changed. They changed that by law in 2016 or 17. So I reapplied, and now I have a dual nationality, so both Dutch and Danish. Thank you, ladies. Give me one moment. Give me just one moment. I'm probably gonna be like 2, maybe 3 minutes. I'll pick up those crochet hooks because now I finished the row. I pick up those crochet hooks and I'll be right back. So I'm just gonna give you a little bit of music to listen to, and I'll be right back. Give me max a couple of minutes.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. The moonlight's summer.
So. Thank you for the patience. As you can see, I did find my little template. Okay. Marianne's crochet hands. Is that a Stanley muffin she's using? Yes, it is a muffin. Well, it's a muffin mini locks. Muffin mini locks. And it's the colorway 1252. And right now it's about 10 euros or so by Stanley. Yeah. Yes. Stanley muffin mini locks. Hello, Sarah. Wonderful to see you this morning. The weather in Minneapolis is fair with a temperature of 73 degrees Fahrenheit, about 23 degrees Celsius. Wind is blowing from south at 8 miles per hour. And in Texas, it is sunny with a temperature of 79 degrees Fahrenheit and 26 degrees Celsius. Wind is blowing from south, and the current humidity is 76. It is a beautiful cake, Marianne. Definitely it is. Let's see, what is the weather here? It's been well, mixed today. But let's see here in the Netherlands what it says. If it wants to say anything, that is. It's hot and sticky here. I can imagine with 76 degrees humidity and 26 degrees, that sounds yuck. Here it's 18 degrees Celsius, so that's 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Wind spring from west, and humidity is 56. So it's a little bit cooler here. It has been raining earlier today, so I'm surprised it's only a 56% humidity. Marianne says we can trade places. Well, no need for humidity here, but thank you for offering. Maybe another lady is willing. In Winkler, the conditions right now is 15 degrees Celsius or 59 degrees Fahrenheit. The wind is blowing from north-northwest and the humidity is 74. So that is also a bit humid, actually. So these are the hooks I was talking about. That's pretty much like frills. Our high in Minnesota today will be about 90. Pooh, yuck. I'm just staying here if you don't mind. So that is kind of these fancy ones. There's nothing on this side, so I'm just flipping them for you to easier see. 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, and 8 is what I have here. And as you can see, size-wise and shape-wise, they look very much like the frills, but they are not frills. I've used this one for the purpose was to make one of my headbands in the star stitch. And I wanted to try how it was in a bit bigger, so like 6.5 instead of the 6. And I decided why not try these. These are aluminium, as you can hear. And like this, they hold nice, but they are definitely heavier than this. Like, I should pick up my weight scale actually, just to compare that as well. But the problem is when I hold like I hold here, I can reach the tip, which I like. But if I hold this one where I can't reach the tip. So they're too long for me and a bit too heavy. But also these are inlined hooks, as you can see, the clear indent. But what I also find with these hooks, and I'm not sure if I can catch that really on my webcam, the edge here is quite sharp. So I find it snatched my yarn. So they're pretty sharp in the sense of the edge is pretty, yeah. They are definitely hooking on. But I found this, it was like the yarn I used was the Julia, and I think it's like, it's a plied yarn, which is then plied like 2 strands in the end. And I found that this one wanted to split it a bit. So I couldn't work in the same speed with this hook as I could with a 6mm of this hook. And they are pretty heavy, full aluminium. So I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with them, if I might just end up selling them, because I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna use them. It may be the bigger ones, like if I would work with something really thick, or if you did like t-shirt yarn or something like that, they might work, because I would then like really have a good hold. But how I normally would hold, I would hold like this, which lengthwise would be perfect, but I won't hold on the ergonomical part, because if I hold on the ergonomical part, I will go here, and then I'm too short for what I like. So this whole piece needs to be like moved up a couple of centimeters, and I would think them perfect. Then at least just a bit heavy. I'm just gonna find a weight scale for you guys. Give me a moment. It's not that far away. Just to compare the difference. And I'm sorry, we are gonna be in grams. I think I can actually put it to ounces. Yeah, because this is like ounces. Okay. We have, let's see, we need to have something which is decently comparable. So let's take my 4mm Clover Soft Touch. And then we'll put out the 4.5mm from these as well. So I'll just put in the green fella, because I don't have a 6.5mm. Oh my goodness. I don't have a 6.5mm of the Clover Soft Touch. They only go to 6. But let's just go for these. This one is 0.35 ounces, or for us in grams, It's 10 grams, right? 9, 10 grams. This one is the 4.5 millimeter. And just to be clear, it was the 4.5 millimeter close off touch weight. This one, my friends, is 52 grams. It's like 4 times as heavy, technically 5. 5 times as heavy. So it's like 1.75 ounces, almost 1.8 ounces in comparison. 1.85, it says, if I should trust the weight scale. So it's 5 times as heavy. So obviously, eventually your hand does get a bit more tired, if that makes sense. And as I said, if I need to hold on the ergonomical part, I will have to hold up here, but I can't decently get to the end. So my fingers are too short for these hooks, for what I prefer as a crocheter. And they do have some weight to them. So if I have to crochet at this end, and you know, you wouldn't even be able to decently, if you do the pencil grip on these, it will have to be a knife holder to use these. I personally think. There is the explanation of things. Good. I'm catching up on things. Give me a moment. 74% humidity. You went. Oddball says desperate need rain with all the fires. I wish you guys get rain oddballs. Marianne's love the look of those, but heads are boyish and I don't feel well with those type of hooks. Yeah, they are inlined. And they're definitely sharp. They do look pretty cool. I like the different colors and everything. Yeah, full aluminium handles, definitely. They're typically these style hooks are meant to make you stop putting that finger on the head to slide the yarn. They are meant to break bad habits. I don't personally think I have a bad habit. Maybe I do though. I'm not a pro. I'm not a pro, but yeah, my experience was with a bit of time using these, and I used the 6.5, and it might be a few grams heavier because obviously the shaft is thicker than a 4.5. And my conclusion was just I fared much better with the soft touch, the way I was crocheting and handling and holding and everything. Yeah, maybe it's a bad habit, maybe it's not. I don't know. It's just how I do things, and it works the best way possible. It seems to be how I do it most quick. But my challenge is, so Atbo says that to have it would hurt my wrist. Marianne's is laughing of me. I think it's because I think I don't make mistakes in the sense of how I'm holding my hooks. But as I said, we all individual and we could do whatever we like. Using the so Marianne says she did the same using my fingers to slide the yarn. The length makes you keep that finger back. And they are really beautiful. They're just so damn heavy. That's my issue. I used false hooks. Resin, it fixed a lot of bad habits I had. But that's a real question. Is it considered a bad habit just because I like to control the yarn with my finger? And why would it be a bad habit? I'm keen to hear. Because if I'll do it's yeah. And the frills doesn't easily come in the sizes I need either. Plus, frills is really expensive for me because I'm in Europe. Like, it costs the same for me to ship and import it as the hook itself costs. So each hook would be like double price for me. Maybe a little bit cheaper if I like bought a big truckload of them, which I probably wouldn't because I would like to test first before buying a whole collection, if that makes sense. But I like the look of these, the aesthetic quite pleasing. I also like when I'm just holding the handle, and if I really could do this, they would be perfect for me. A bit lighter, but you know, imagine them in resin, for example. I'd imagine that that would be a lot lighter, but the shaft for me is way too long. I need longer fingers. That's the solution. I will call my parents and say that I need genetics that causes me to have longer fingers. So Adbal says I only use my finger to control the yarn if I'm making back post stitches. So yeah, that is the question, I guess. Is it a bad habit to use the finger to help control the yarn? And I'd more be keen to know, why is it considered a bad habit? So yeah, I have this absolutely gorgeous set, which I'm not using, so I might end up just optioning to sell again. They look gorgeous, but the reality is just we aren't working together. Because they're only from 3.5 and a 4. I could probably, so I don't have the 3.75, which I'm using right now for the Stanley, but still, it's probably not meant for me, I guess. Marianne says, no and yes. I was taught pencil style, so I couldn't slide the yarn. When I switched to knife hold, I was still doing it, and my forefinger developed triggering. Triggering? Hmm. Jenna K says, such a good question. Are there technically bad habits? If you watch YouTube tutorials, there are so many different ways people hold hooks and yarn. Did they learn wrong, or are there no wrong ways? I say there's no wrong ways if you if the result gets to be the same. If the end result looks how it's supposed to look, doesn't matter how you get there. If that makes sense. That's my opinion. Marianne says, you keep doing you, just telling you what I discovered and how I got relief. Those hooks aren't for me either, too heavy. Trigger finger, correct. Trigger finger. Well, maybe, Marianne, I have a past. Well, I do also have a presence in the sense of um, I'm an athlete and I used to do shooting as sport and I still do shoot. So yes, I do have a trigger finger, which coincidentally happens to be this one actually. So I just found it a bit funny comparison. And yeah, I do guess it helps me control the yarn a bit. I do, yeah. And that is why my conclusion is, if the end result gets to be the desired result, then I don't think there is any wrong or right ways of doing things. I guess it's like knitting as well. Because I guess I do things differently. Like there are different ways of knitting. You know, you have people where like I hold my yarn with my tension finger when I knit, where you have other people's, they're like kind of casting around the needle with their hand when knitting and then grabbing it again and then casting around. And I can't do that. That takes forever to complete. I just keep the tension on. And my way of controlling my tension, which is probably also why I do have a tighter tension, is the fact that I twirl it around my finger. So I hold my yarn like this. And if that's right or wrong, I don't know. It's again, I guess depends on what you learned. It like if I only do this, it's too loose for me. then it tickles off. So the only way I can really control the tension and keep the same tension is by doing it like that, if that makes any sense. Again, that's different because I'm sure you guys hold the yarn differently than I do. Alba says my mom couldn't watch me crochet. She said it made her dizzy. I moved my yarn hand too much. She said, okay. Marianne's, I'm 50. Anyone older than me would disagree with us. I cannot knit, but I want to learn. I learned to knit when I was a child, and I just recently started knitting again. Just saying. So my knitting adventure is completely new. Completely new. We just discussed a bit of knitting needles earlier today. The way you hold your yarn is the way I was taught. Oh, cool. Exactly, Jenna Kate. Yeah, do what you learned and what's comfortable. We need to protect our hands. That's the point. We all need to we need to keep in mind what's comfy to do and what works for us basically. Let's see. What is the next row? Oh, Jolly-o. We need to do a bunch of front posts. We should probably just start on this row and then see how far we get. I won't finish this row, this live. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll count as a treble. We'll swip around and we'll do 2 doubles in that first stitch, and then we'll do a single crochet in the next. Yeah, and then, my friends, is now when I need to keep track of everything, because I'll have to start by doing 4 front post treble crochets, then afterwards it's 4 front post doubles, and then it's 4 front post half doubles, 4 front post singles, 4 front post half doubles, 4 front post doubles, and 4 front post trebles for each of these curves. Jolly-o. I need to keep track of my stitching. So let's start by the treble. We'll twist around twice, and I said front post, so that is at least easy. And that is again why I like my thumb to keep track, because it's just so much easier when I can reach them. Yeah, I'm not going to change that style. And maybe it's a wrong or bad habit, I don't know, but this is how I crochet the quickest without losing yarns, stitches, splitting. It's just how I control it best. Ta-ta. And then it's for doubles, front post doubles. So I think the bottom conclusion on this, there is no perfect or right way of doing things as long as the end result is the result you wanted it to become. Which I like. Front half doubles. So that's a good thing, but I've never considered it a bad habit, so that's a new one to me. It's sitting there. I even don't know if my mom does it. If she's still here, she could answer me, but she might have just turned it off and taken a nap, which I wouldn't blame her. She's been with us for a long time if she's still around. Jenna Casey's first time I heard Jada in Stitches Crochet. I was so surprised. I've never seen anyone hold hook or yarn like that. Then I heard her story teaching herself, and I was very impressed. Marianne's Crochet say, I wanted to tell you that your D-stash video helped me get a ton of Yarn Art Flowers family yarns. Well, yeah, well, I've sorted my stash flowers, definitely. And my D-stash I still need to get through. I'm working on that slowly and clearly. Slowly. But it's progressing. Jenna K says, made me realize how everyone learns differently and it's quite all right. Exactly. Well, it is quite all right. We are all a bit different. And, you know, a part of me, when I started crocheting again, I had to dig up what I had learned more than 25 years earlier or something like that. Probably more like 30 almost. And a part of it is probably also then self-taught, right? So I was taught some, but I'm not sure if I remember everything. Some of it is also rediscovering on my own pace. And during a rediscovering route, you could say that you also sort of self-teach you again. Compare it to if you have been skating when you were a child and suddenly you go back on ice skates, but you haven't done it for 20 years. Try and remember how you do that. Well, I am happy I found you too, Marianne. Well, I'm happy you're here with us. Definitely. I'm going to be here again on Wednesday because we are slowly closing up to when I normally end these lives, which is at 5 p.m. my time. And that is because I'll have to cook dinner and do stuffs. But I'm usually here every Wednesday and every second Monday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central European time. So that would be 7 to 10 Texan time. AM. And I do sometimes deviate a bit from these schedules due to the fact that I do travel quite a bit to Denmark as my mom is unwell. And when I do travel to Denmark, I don't go live when I'm there, obviously. Alba says I'm supposed to be destashing, but I keep buying more yarn. That sounds like me almost, except I have been. It depends on what number we are looking at. Technically, I still got more yarn this year than I used because I got some in January. I've tried to um, I used up some points for hubby and got some like for the birthday sale and so on for my birthday cash. So I got some extra yarn there, and then I got a bunch of cotton to get free shipping and so on in March. But I haven't used up all of those skeins yet that I actually got. So I'm working on it. Let's put it like that. Marianne says she used to love my stash to buy more. My goal is to not buy clothing but make my own. That's a nice goal. That is definitely a nice goal. Well, I'll probably have to buy some clothing. Linnea asks me if I've tried Hobby's Everyday Recycled Cotton Yarn. I'm looking for yarn for a bag. I haven't tried Hobby's Everyday Recycled Cotton. I will be able to have a look at it in 2 weeks' time because I'm going to a hobby store in Denmark. I'm planning on going to a hobby store in Denmark if nothing else changes plans, which is going to be my mom's department because if everything goes well, she's having her treatment on the Tuesday. I'm there and I'll be going to the hobby. But what I do have tried for bags, which I'm quite happy with, it depends on what type of bag you want. But I've used their We Love Yarn. Let me pop over for a minute to my shopping window. Just need to find it there. What I have been using is the We Love Yarn Recycled, which sometimes is it's a quite good deal. It might actually even be on sale right now. They're like on sale every few weeks. It is on sale right now. Sweet. I know you're in Sweden, so let's just pop to the Swedish side. That would be most logic. Come on. It's not what I asked you to do. Hobby, behave. There you are. And then let's see if I can do this in Swedish. There's actually more to get the Swedish prices in Swedish crowns, so please bear with me. We love yarn. 11 Swedish crowns. That's not bad. This is like an 8/8 cotton. I've made bags from this, and it was pretty okay. I've made the summer shopper bags in them. Could probably fetch one of those upstairs too, but it's a bit far away from me. But I've made bags in this, and I think that worked out pretty nicely for the bags. I could fetch one as a last part of the stream. That means that I won't be working more on this if you want me to. I could fetch the ones I have up there. Give me a moment, please. You'll have me a little alone. Well, I can't take you with me voice-wise, but I'm not gonna take you with me screen-wise. But I am currently going upstairs to my, should we call it, hobby room. You might hear my dryer in the background running, but I wanted to pick up some of the bags from this recycled cotton that I've made. I did actually make a sort of a review of the yarns. As well on my channel somewhere. Could probably find links to share. So I am back, ladies. Let's see. Conclusion is probably after this will be pretty end. So we'll pop over here and we'll pop up here. Hello. So these ones, which is summer shopper bag, that's also a hobby pattern, by the way. They use a different yarns than what I did. The sand and the off-white on this. This is sand and off-white, I believe. Or is it sand and beige? I do believe it's sand and off-white. And I also made it in the red. This is the dark red. And this one I really like. I really like this color. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous dark red. So this is a hobby pattern. I do believe they use a Go handmade yarn, but I used the above. And for this, I used exact 6 skeins to complete. So 6 of these recycled cotton yarns from the We Love Yarn. So I think it's for a recycled cotton, which is also pretty price-wise a competitive, nice cotton, especially when it's on sale. I think they were really nice. My daughter shops my stash sometimes. Last night she claimed 2 cakes that she's picking up today. That makes me happy. Well, I think sharing hobby with your family is always nice, right, oddballs? You're very welcome, Linnea. Mary Ann says, I want my daughters to shop my stash, but I have hope. My grandson is 4 and super crazy about my yarn cakes. He comes and gets them and never breaks the label. Oh, that's sweet. He grabs the hooks I gave him and tries to mimic my hands. He's autistic, but he's a quick visual learner. Oh, maybe he's good at crochet. You know, never know. The bag doesn't have that much stretch because it's 100% cotton. It's recycled cotton, so I guess that's kind of good if you think about the durability of it. But let's see if I give it a good push. It has a little stretch, but it's more the stretch of the stitches and not the stretch of the yarn, because the yarn itself does not stretch. So when this stretch, it's due to the stretch of the stitches, if that makes any sense. So it's because of the stretch and that's because this is a cross double crochet, which is a really nice, I think. So the bottom of it is like half doubles, and then this piece is cross doubles, and then it's half doubles, and then there's some single crochets and some slip stitches on top. But it's a super simple pattern. I'll see if I can find it for you as well. And I am sorry, but for this, I am hitting the English site. For the US people, if you do not have easy access to these yarns from hobby, either not in the stash or you don't have a hobby order going in soon or whatever, I think Peaches and Cream or Lily Sugar and Cream would work well for them as well. And I imagine you will need 5, maybe 6 skeins. 5 probably, because they're a bit longer on the length compared to the Summer Shopper one. But so it's a really simple pattern. Have a few stitch markers. 5mm crochet hook is what I used with this yarn, with the recycled cotton yarn. I think it was really nice actually. And what I could do is I could take this, maybe. I need to have a view of my camera. And it's a little bit dark, but that is because we did tune down the darkness a bit. So that's a bit better. And it doesn't look like I'm sitting in the darkness. If I take one bag and put it into the next, I guess you can get a little bit easier idea of it. So it is working around. And I believe this is like, I don't know, 18, 20 rows or something like that of repeat of this cross double crochet. So it's basically, you skip a stitch, you do in a double crochet, and then you go back a stitch to do in your double crochet, and you skip a stitch to do the next double crochet, and go back a stitch, which the one you skipped is to do a double crochet, and that's basically how you do the cross double crochets. It's really simple, and it's a free pattern for those that's free hobby pattern. If you don't have a hobby account, make a hobby account and download the pattern for free. Super nice design. I really like it. Bernat Handicrafter would work too, probably. I'm not familiar with all of the US cotton yarns, but I would use a cotton yarn. The designer used 50% acrylic, 50% cotton, I think, or 45, 55, or something close to that. I would option for 100% cotton because cotton is not a stretchy material, and therefore you will get less stretch. It will only be the stitches that stretches. So yeah, that is, and I personally really like how they turned out. I don't even know if I can. If I'm might be a little bit too tall, but that is kind of the, like what I did do is I did make the strap like, I think it's like 5 rows longer, because I felt that it would give me a little bit more room below my arm. And that's just because I have some solid arms. So I did do the strap a little bit longer, but that's more like personal preference. Bernat Handicrafter comes in 14-ounce balls. That sounds like a big one. Bernat Handicrafter cotton. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. But that's because it's American, of course. For exceptional quality range of colors, ideal for crochet knit. So I can't get it because for me it's like all sold out because they don't ship to 100% USA grown cotton yarn. That sounds awesome if you're American. This product comparable to Big Twist favorite cotton. Similar content of gauge. Ball size 50 grams to 73 meters for the solids. Yeah, that's pretty much the same as the ones here. If you want to option for a different type of cotton, yeah. Bernat Handicrafter could be an option too. Definitely. That could be an option. Post is here. Fun fact, Bernat is actually made in Canada. I learned something today. Marianne says like large strappers will have football shoulders. So that could be an option as well. So of the small skeins, I would have used 6. Like if it's these small ones with just like the 1.75 ounce skeins. If that's of any help. That's approximately. And I would always recommend get an extra. Yeah, Hobby's Friends Cotton 88 is a perfect match. Same. This is just a recycled version of the Hobby's 88 cotton. It's just a different brand, but sold by Hobby. And because it's recycled, it's price economically friendly. Because each skein of these is like close to $1 each, maybe $1.10. I actually don't know what the Bernats cost because according to this, they are sold out. And that's because they don't ship to Europe, I think, from Yarnspirations. But it's pretty much like similar to an 88. Yeah. You could have used a plain 88 cotton for it as well. I just like the idea of it being a recycled. I think that was a really nice concept. And I really like this sort of cross double crochet concept. So yeah, that is my warmest recommendations, I guess. So what did we reach to do on this shawl? Because it is unfortunately heading towards the time when I usually have to end because, well, other aspects of life happens. And this is, well, we are started on the next row here, as you can see. But this is where we are at. Pretty much. It is slowly turning out to be very nice. We did do a couple of rows, so that was progress. I will see, I should be able to finish the rest of this row before the yarn talk, because I have other projects I'm working on too. I'm currently working on a bucket hat, but as you can see, it's a bare basics because this is just single crochets, which is an 8/8 cotton, by the way. But from Drops, it's the Paris. The yarns that I'm using for that one is this one, which is like a mauve color. 3 different colors I have, which I'm gonna like combine, following another pattern. Right now, I need to follow my guts for following the pattern because I'm not 100% sure if the size will be correct. And there wasn't really like a gauge swatch to compare with. I just bought some Bernat. I paid $12 for a 14-ounce ball, which is like, give me some moment. How much is that in grams? I'm used to grams. So 1.75 is 50, which is 8. It's like a 400-gram ball. That's a pretty decent skein. You'll definitely have enough for a bag in that, and leftovers. If you're going for that bag option, obviously. That's up to you. So just packing down my project. It was super wonderful to spend time with you guys today. Always wonderful to spend time with you guys, actually. But I have to get going because the real life of things is calling on my name, such as a dinner and a few other things. And it is a busy week. I need to do a lot of things. I don't have much time in the evening, so like I'm working in the morning. I have to work extra tomorrow because then I didn't have to use a vacation day Friday when I'm not here. So I work extra tomorrow and Thursday to prevent that. Plus I have to leave earlier Thursday, so like have to do quick dinner Thursday. Wednesday evening we also have like tomorrow and Wednesday evening I'm also not home, so it's a busy week. But I'll be here on Wednesday around 2 p.m. ish Central European time, so that's like 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Texan time for those early morning birds. I'll definitely be here. And then next week, Wednesday, I'll be live as well. I'll be, of course, have my Yarn Talk Friday. And I will have to see how things go from there. I'm going to say thank you so much for spending your time with me. I very much appreciated hanging out with you all. I'm going to say take care and happy crafting until I see you all again, and I will see you all on Wednesday if you are around Wednesday. I will definitely be happy to spend some of my time with you guys because I really enjoy it. It's my little crafty club. It feels like, which I don't have anywhere close here, so gotta find them online, right? So it was such a pleasure to see you all, and I hope to see you all on Wednesday if you have time, and if you don't, I also understand. But yeah, feel free to pop in and rewatch the live later. If you did rewatch the live all the way to here, thank you so much for doing that. I very much appreciate your support. So yeah, take care and happy crafting. Until I see you again. Bye, and of course, stay healthy.